I lost my shirt.
I'm laughing now, but I was crying before. For all you die-hard Stu's fans who think he's the real star of the show, this one's for you. In this episode, he gets the shaft chopped, picks a fight with the exhaust, tackles the raw water system and bilge pumps, and just when he thinks he's done, I jump in to help him fit the P-bracket back in place so the shaft can finally sit pretty. Buckle up, it's a good one.
Today's the day we're getting the prop shaft cut. I've just got to go to the machine shop next door. So I have to walk all the way out the yard to walk all the way along the yard. We get this done. One less thing to worry about.
A few moments later.
Well, that's done. I was hoping to get some nice B-roll of me standing pretty next to a guy using a saw, but I didn't. But take my word for it, it's cut. Now on to the next job. Sometimes you've got a list of jobs and you find that things change, and the welder's in today, and he's a hard man to get hold of. So you cut the shaft, and I thought, well, as soon as he's here, I'll see if he can weld a tiny little flap on the steering column. I'll show you what I'm up to. Here is the dismantled, horrible looking steering column. Just here, I need to put 2 grommets for the cables, and I need a little flap. On the top of the binnacle above the compass, I'd like to mount the autopilot. I need to put a C-torque cable, 3-core for the windlass, a USB socket, and a little switch maybe for the anchor light. So I've got 4 cables to try and squeeze up there, and that means I can control a lot more from the helm, which is always good. We had the autopilot head on the sort of bulkhead by the companionway on the last boat, and that was a pain. It was just a pain. So I'm going to drill these, quickly go next door and have a word and see if he can weld it, as well as maybe extending the grab rail. But it's all aluminium, so I'll see what he can do. It's just got to be extended, so it currently sits here, and then with the compass, so you've got hardly any space. Don't know if that will give you, it maybe got like 2 or 3 inches, so it'll be nice to get that extended, probably 6 inches, so then at least you can grab it. It's not as sturdy as the last boat, but it's something to grab. It will at least slow your fall down a bit. Yeah, pretty square. So if I mark it, I don't go too big. Okay. Luckily it's aluminium and not stainless. Okay, not too bad. I measured it and it said 16, but you know how these grommets are, they can sometimes be a right pig. Come on. Yeah, I think that will do. So I'll go whip this to the welder and see if he can put it on his bench for today. Make a, I would call it a clamshell, something that sits, you know, just over there, so the cables can go up and create a drip loop.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got Joe the neighbour concurring with my suggestions. So yeah, let's see if we can make this happen today. Another job on the list for today is to just neaten up the end of this prop shaft. It does look fairly square. Square enough to sit in the coupling. Okay, done. Right, next job. a few bitty jobs to do at the moment before we can do the final install, well, attempt the final install on the engine. Little bits that all need doing. So I think I'm going to start with working on the exhaust system, which doesn't sound overly complicated apart from we've been using the aft cabin as the workshop and I need to get under the bed. What I'll do, let me bring the light over, as I'll show you where I'm at currently. Yet again, I'm not overly happy with where we're at with this exhaust, but it's such a big exhaust, the diameter, it makes life a little bit tricky. Down there is the outlet, here is the gooseneck, right down there is the run basically, so we'll need to possibly enlarge that. I've bought what I can second hand, so I've got this gooseneck which has a horrible angle on it for our purpose, so I've got this elbow in because I wouldn't be able to get the bend in otherwise, and from here it will go into said hole, through the bed, through the cupboard in the back of the shower, and then into the engine room. So first one's in. Something tells me this is going to be an angry job, and luckily I'm alone for this. Me and this here exhaust can get to know each other. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, the access is not nice. It's not bad access, but I'm trying to put the bolt end, I want to try and get rid of it as much as I can. I don't want it in the way, because I'm hoping that I can actually make use of some of this cupboard, mainly for a little bit of the spare standing rigging and something else. Okay, these two were a lot quicker because I managed to do them outside. Now we've got to mount the gooseneck to the wall, and then we can look at the next piece of hose. First mistake of the job. I measured twice, even measured the third time. But it might not be an issue, because here to go under the bed, I was going to put an elbow, that elbow. But I think if I open this up a little bit, I can run the hose directly through. It's actually really hard work. The spring's probably an inch thick, that's inside it. I hurt my finger. I've got to see if the hose is long enough to go all the way, and I think I might have made a boo-boo. In worst case scenario, I'm going to have to put a join in it somewhere. We ordered 6 meters and I honestly don't think we've got enough. So this is the length of hose we still have, which is just over 4 meters. So hopefully I can run that under the bed to the bulkhead of the engine room, where we'll need to put an elbow, go across to the water locker, and then from the water locker to the exhaust manifold thing. It's a bit of a bomb site. I've managed to push everything out the way and get into the area under the bed. So the plan is to see if I can go straight up without an elbow. It's a bit hard work, I'm not gonna lie. And these lockers are really dirty, so I'll need a hoover. Had one of these wheelie things for the old cable steering left, so I've got a pair if anybody wants. I'm not gonna get there. I'm gonna have to cut this piece out. That's all I can do to get the hose out. Once it's in, I will have to have a look at how to make it look pretty again. It's a pretty big hole. Let's see. At least now I can make a sort of half lid. Not the prettiest of jobs, but we'll pretty it up in post-production. So there's the exhaust right underneath the bunk. So we'll see if we can feed it in, but I think that might be the go. I found the silicone tub that normally holds our stirrers. There's damn it. The hole's not exactly in the middle. It's a couple of mil out, but I don't think the exhaust will notice. I've nearly gone all the way around. I've just got the little bits in between to try and work my way through. Pretty crude drilling, but we'll make it look pretty.
That's how thick the bulkhead is in that area.
Yeah, it's like a cake.
Yeah.
This little bit of exhaust is the main run of the exhaust. I didn't do a lot of recording whilst actually doing the job. There was a little bit of persuasive talk needed. Goes through this bulkhead to the bottom of the shower, which is a very dark place. You'll have to take my word for it. Then from the shower, it goes under the bed, under here, then into the stern locker, where it connects to the gooseneck. Yet again, it's a pretty dark, dingy area. I do apologise for the lighting. This was what we have left, just over a metre. So I think we'll land up needing a tiny amount just to go from the engine to the water locker. So I don't think that was too bad a guesstimation. I think it turned out alright. It was just a little bit annoying because it's pretty rigid and pretty solid. Hence I didn't do much recording at the time. But the exhaust is in. Before we can get the engine back in, we need to put the tray on. And obviously before we put the tray on, we need to put the strum box in for the super emergency I'm really scared bilge pump. And to do that, we need to mount the seawater inlet for the engine. Want the water strainer almost on the water line, so when we open the lid we don't get inundated with water. And under that we need to put this doohickey in. So all of this needs to somehow sit neatly on this wall and have the suitable hoses all connected to it. I've got some hose clamps, thank you John, I'm very grateful. At least now we're starting to build stuff back, which is always fun. Yeah, it seems pretty on it. Okay, so we got that, it needs to go to there. Go where the F is. These I've had butter knives sharper. I always find it a bit easier just to cut the metal with like that. Yeah, so beautiful job. Okay, so I suppose we're at the point now that everything's getting doubled up. Too short. Good one, Stu. It's €2 down the drain. Might be able to use it somewhere else. Take two. These are my favourite hoses. I'm not really a fan of much else. Yeah, when it comes to infrastructure type hoses. What do you call it, infrastructure? Go on. Go on. Yeah, that's on. I don't like this sitting all the way on the back, so I'm going to put a little hardwood spacer in there. Found a piece of wood. This piece of wood, I'll make a wee little backing plate for the selector with the biggest hole saw I have, which by some sheer coincidence actually fits. That's as far as I could get on that way. Now a little bit of love around the sides. So since we've really cleaned the boat and trying to stay on top of it, we're not allowed to do any sanding or stuff inside. So best thing is if none of us tell Marina. Yeah, there is, damn it. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, so that's our little backing plate. Now let's go back into the layer and see how it sits against the wall. These ones are countersunk. These ones need to be dome heads. So, how long have we been doing this? And finally I get some screws in. Bear jokes. That is acceptable. Right. Found a couple of reasonable looking washers, don't know if you can see. Need to add a couple of hose clamps still. Double everything up, as they say. So there it is. Ooh. Phase 2 of emergency bilge pump. I've connected the strum box to a long length of hose. This sits in here. So that's the strum box in. And from here to there. Bilge pump electric float switch. That's in. So if we go there, is that too tight? Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it there, and if I'm not happy with it at a later stage, I can contemplate cutting it. So yeah, cut it long and then get the engine in and deal with it after that. That's pretty much where we're at. Okay, so let's get this cut and put on and move on to the next job. Yay! Just started drilling out the backing plate. Yeah, you do get what you pay for when it comes to drills. So that's it with the pilot. Now we've got to up this to 10 mil. Now with that funny little piece, we just try and neaten it up a little bit. Nah, it's not great. What I might do is go up a bit, up to a slightly bigger. Maybe I'll get a nicer finish with a bigger one of these doohickeys. When it's on, you know, there's a tiny bit of movement in it.
As you know, we installed the P-bracket the other day and it's already gone off. So what we're gonna do, we have decided that we're not gonna take the P-bracket off. We're gonna individually take out every bolt and put Sika around the bolts and in the holes so water doesn't come in and it's all sealed. So we're about to go outside, try to take the bolts out, which we hope will work, and then put the Sika on. So it is crazy windy out there.
You hardly notice it.
It's gusting about 50 knots, so we'll take the sound of the next few clips for you to relax without this crazy noise. And here we are, trying to undo those bolts, but no, they're not coming off. And that's how Stuart tried to explain that they're rock hard in there. Oh no, what are we going to do now?
So as I thought, the polypop-silicel combination has made the bolts rigid.
It was a killer.
Yeah, so now I'm just going to see if this, as I was saying the other day, I hate backing plates. Oh, it's got to go on pretty square.
Nice!
Beggar's belief. I can't get it off.
Well, you can, yeah, you can. Gently.
Well.
So basically those bolts are well stuck in there.
Well stuck.
So we're gonna try to put Sika flakes from this side, at least, so no water comes in if it ever makes its way around the bolts. Well, I would say put loads, honey, as we couldn't put it on the outside.
Alright, maybe you need a glove then. I was thinking maybe we should have put
What?
some tape.
It's fine, we'll clean it up.
Whoa, look at those bad boys.
They are brass nylons.
Rare as hen's teeth, those.
They all have nylon nuts except for one of them. That is where the electric thingy is gonna be put on. How is it called?
An anode.
Anode.
Anode. Anode.
Just so the P bracket doesn't corrode, right?
That's it.
So pretty.
Hello, I'm on the tunnel.
There's no... How many are there? 27? And that's it. We are saying goodbye to the sticks forever. Is centered in the stern tube and through the P bracket. As you can see, Stuart is just checking that our alignment is correct, and I can say that is pretty spot on. I think it's just a very slight, a tenth of a mil out. Beautiful. Thank you all for showing up every week, and a huge thanks to everyone who has been helping with the restoration and supporting the production of these movies. Our patrons, coffee supporters, super thankers, PayPal contributors, and all our newest YouTube members. Massive thank you to each and every one of you. Next week, you'll finally get to see the engine install. Yep, you heard that right, the final install. We do run into a little hiccup though, just a slight miscalculation. But hey, you'll see for yourself next week. Until then, have an awesome week, and as always, hasta luego!